Alright, so in today's video, I'll show you a solution to a problem you don't have. Or maybe you do. I mean, hopefully you do. And so I have this growing random calculator collection, vintage calculator collection. I am an avid flea market goer, and at some point there were just a few calculators to buy, right? Like items worth buying. So I bought them. This is one of the first ones. And then I kept, like, whatever flea market I go to, I do now look for these as well, right? And these are very cheap. Like, this was probably 3 or 4 euros, something like that. And it is a very cool calculator, right? You press enter, and the display is actually tied into one of the buffers that is used, right? They had a lot of memory constraints back in the day. And so it's actually tied to a buffer that is actually used for the calculation, so you can see the numbers scroll through. We'll definitely take a look at that at the end. So this is the rest of my calculator collection. I'll try and just do a panning shot of that. Is that called a panning shot? Anyway. And so yeah, so I have this problem, right? This one's off, right? And it doesn't have batteries, because batteries leak, right? I mean, all of them except the rechargeable ones, and even those I've actually heard sometimes leak. You can go about this two ways. You can put nickel metal hydride inside, but those, if they're not loop, and even if they are loop, will eventually drain out by themselves. Or you could just put alkalines and remember to change them every 4 years. Or every 5 years, or whatever the expiry date is. You could just put stickers on and keep that going, and that's a valid approach. Have nothing against the people that do this. I am too stupid to remember stuff like that, and there's no way I'm putting myself through this. I know myself, like, we're good friends. It's not worth it. And so I've been thinking about this and keep in mind, I think very slowly, but it's like 4 or 5 years. It's probably 2 years, but anyway. And so I came up with the solution that involves lithium batteries, right? So primary lithium cells never leak, right? I mean, this is the general consensus. If it leaks, I mean, I'll leave a comment in 50 years and let you guys know. But so this is a cheap hardware store brand, Lexman. Expiry date 2030, so it's 19 years from now. Even a bit more. And yeah, so the plan is to somehow solder some wires and have this semi-permanently. I will have to solder a wire onto there, maybe hook it onto here, although at that point I'll just solder 2 wires in, and just have this reside in here. It does fit. These are slightly bigger than AA's. Let me bring one in for comparison. Alright, so this would be a AA. And this would be a CR2. And the reason why you'd go for a CR2 is that they seem to be from my extremely limited knowledge, the highest volume primary lithium cell that also is the most widely used, right? So you could definitely buy AA's from Zaft or similar brands that are primary lithium. So those will have 3 volts, right, on them. And they will be exactly this shape, but those are super niche applications. There's similar ones to this, which are Macs used to use for their motherboard clock. But yeah, basically button cells. So there's the CR, the fatter ones. Those are pretty cheap, but these are high money per milliamp hours. Still, I think a bit better. So this actually has 800 milliamp hours. It definitely depends how you drain it, so it might actually be more. These are familiar, these should be familiar to people using flashes, like older flashes. Apparently use this format, so it's still fairly popular. This was like 3 or 4 euros. It's still a lot of money, but anyway, this has a pretty big draw, so it draws like 70 to 90 and usually 80 milliamps, but it'll still get 10 hours. And in museum mode, you just bring it up, calculate some stuff, and then you're done, right? You need to remember to turn it off, but okay, so all that being said, let's quickly look at the dimensions. So yeah, slightly thicker, slightly. I mean, I know for sure it fits in this case, but yeah, if anyone has tighter tolerances, right, this is what, 14 point something, and this is this is 15 point something. So about a millimeter thicker, but yeah, down in the noise. Okay. So now this is probably the most controversial. So this is probably the most controversial bit of the video. We'll be soldering onto this. So what I'd recommend doing, aside from using some flux, would be to scratch this surface a bit. It does help the solder adhere a lot better. And so the top cap is not going to be a problem because you can heat this locally, but the back is probably in closer proximity to the cell's innards, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so some flux. So I'll be using the boost mode on this to get the job done as quick as possible. So boost mode is about 285, 385, and normal mode is 285. So, and this is leaded solder, and boom, we're done. Okay, that was quick and painless. Let's see the other side. Set this down on something. So I think I heard some noise from the cell, but hope I didn't, actually. Doesn't smell like anything. The smoke's from the soldering iron, so. Alright, let's see if this is still alive, although I would expect it to. Alright, 3.2. That seems legit. Alright, and now it's just a question of fabricating some wires and linking everything up. And we'll unfortunately have to also solder tiny bit to this calculator. There will be an upcoming video probably, or if not, I'll just add it in the description. There are actually fake AA cells, and I have ordered some. And so the solution might turn into actually having some primary lithiums inside of one of those and then have the other one linked back, and then that will be a lot more transparent in terms of installing and diminishing the historic value of your calculators or whatever it is you want to power. I mean, it really needn't apply to calculators alone, but mainly low power stuff though. So okay, so first problem. Solder does not want to stick to this. No idea what this is. I'm even wondering if they've done this to help with corrosion resistance once the batteries do actually leak. But either way, I can't solder to this, so just have to dig deeper. Alright, so opening this up, we can see that they have actually managed to solder onto this, but somehow I can't. Okay, so throw more tools at the problem, eh? Man, this has that nice old solder smell. I think it's the flux they used, right? Alright, so now it's all clipped back together, and we have two wires which merely have to get connected in the right polarity to the battery. So let's just do that. So that will be in parallel with these connections. Do we protect against that, like in any way? Could have it sit here, and that way it's in. Yeah, okay. I think I'll do that. Let's see. Now you can definitely hear the sizzling, like 100%. I will eventually get myself a spot welder, but for the time being, piss with the cock you've got is the motto of the show. Okay. Okay, so just have it sit like this. Negative touching negative and going on via the wire. So let's see. Yay. How cool is this? Yeah, so that's about all I have for you. I forgot all the cool calculations that are supposed to give you the 111, 555, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's been it. I'll be sure to turn this off. And now I can have fun with my friends when they come over and want to see my calculator collection. That will never happen. But yeah, no, I will definitely try to use this a lot more now. All right, have a good one.